Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka Bill Indiana. Today I'm going to do a recap of my experiences in 2021. So if you're curious to hear some of the stats for my channel and some of the games that I played and some of the best experiences I had, stay tuned. So as I recap 2021, first let me talk about some channel stats. So first off, I had hoped to make some improvements. I had some goals for my involvement in Instagram, and I had a goal of making 365 posts, at least one per day, and didn't achieve that. I was able to do 247 posts, so fell quite a bit short of my goal, but still was more active in 2021 than the prior year. I also was hoping to increase the number of followers on Instagram, and that did happen, increased by around 1,000 followers over the year. I thought it might be a little bit more based on the growth I saw in 2020, but the growth seemed to really taper off in 2021, even with a little bit more involvement. Not sure why that is, but I'm not too hung up on the numbers, just sharing some of them as I kind of recap what happened in this last year. I also was hoping to make at least 100 videos on YouTube, and I was able to put together 112. So I actually put more videos on YouTube than I had planned. And I was shooting for 300 subscribers by the end of the year after having ended 2020 with about 65, and actually had reached 395 by the end of 2021. So I was excited for that. I know that's not a ton of subscribers based on a lot of the channels, but for me, it actually superseded my goal. So I was happy with that. In terms of the games that I played, I was hoping for 500 gameplays of 120 different games. And what I was able to achieve, let me grab my stat sheet here. Yep, so I actually was able to do that, and that was 524 gameplays, 150 games, and 104 of them were new to me in 2021. I wasn't expecting to play quite so many new games, but a couple things led to that. One is that for the first time ever in 2021, I started receiving some review copies from a variety of different companies. And so that surprised me. I thought that was a goal. I'd hoped maybe I would receive one or two review copies over the year, but I think it was closer to about 20. Some of them were Kickstarter previews. Some of them were older games that companies were just generous enough to send for another review. Some were that I'm actually working on right now that have Kickstarters coming up in the next month or so. And so I didn't expect anywhere near that kind of attention in terms of receiving review copies based on how small my channel is. But that did mean I was playing more games that were new to me than I expected. And so that carries over into another one of my goals. We had put together a 9x9 family challenge, wanted to play 9 games 9 times each. And we're only able to actually do that with 3 of the 9 games that we chose. We chose Pandemic Legacy Season 0, and we're able to do that. We actually did finish the entire Season 0. We did that with Horrified, actually played that around 12 times because we played that quite a few with friends that we just started getting together with again in 2021. And we also achieved it with Azul. So 3 of the 9 we were able to get at least 9 plays in. For Pandemic Season 0, Pandemic Legacy Season 0, and Horrified, even more than 9, but yeah, we fell short on the other 6. We were pretty close on Sleeping Gods. We put a lot of hours in on that game. We were pretty close on Dale of Merchants and also the Century trilogy of games, but didn't make it to our 9 in any of those. So we did 3. We were somewhat close on 3 more. The other 3, not even close. So, but again, part of that was playing so many new games in 2021. I had also put together a 5x5 challenge, 5 games I wanted to play solo at least 5 times each, and I was only able to do that with one of the 5, and that is Cartographers. And I played that with a variety of different versions of it, and definitely passed my 5 goal. I came close on Role Player, but I didn't get the expansion until right at the end of the year, which I think would have probably helped me be a little more diligent at getting that one to the table. I didn't quite get it with Lord of the Rings Living Card Game either, but those are 2 of the other 4 that I did get some gameplays in. I had high hopes for a couple of other games, but they were just not ones that I ended up getting to the table at all, actually. So I'm still debating on whether I want to do a solo goal. I do tend to play games solo that I'm actually trying to learn, but I don't generally play games solo just for fun. So there's a few exceptions. I played Maquis a number of times. If that had been on my list, it would have helped, but I didn't put that on the list. And so there's a few solo games I have that I do play, but mostly I prefer to play with my wife or with friends. And so I don't know that I'll make a solo goal for 2022. I think we will try to do just a traditional 10 by 10, my wife and I. We're still kind of hashing together what those games should be. Next week, January 14th, is my 2-year anniversary of this channel, and I'll be sharing a few updates then and also my goals for 2022 at that time. So stay tuned for that, and I'll talk to you more about that. I was also hoping to really trim down my shelf of opportunity. I had about 30 games that were unplayed on that shelf at the beginning of 2021, and now at the beginning of 2022, it's more. So I did not decrease that number. And again, part of that was because I was receiving games that I wasn't anticipating getting. I also had several games just gifted to me by friends that found out, hey, you love games here, we want to give this to you. And I probably had 10 or 12 games given to me that I wasn't expecting to receive, in addition to those review copies, and then also games that I picked up on my own. So played 104 new games and still did not decrease the number on that shelf of opportunity. But I'm not complaining. It's just something that I'm going to need to continue to work on in 2022. And so those are some of the stats that I wanted to share with you about 2021. Now some other things. I had a couple of anticipation videos coming out in 2021. One was the most anticipated Kickstarters that I had backed and was hoping to receive. So I'm going to kind of rehash that a bit and tell you what I experienced with that. My number 10 was Yedo, the Master Deluxe set. And I did receive that, but it's one of those games on the shelf of opportunity that I haven't played yet. Another was Cascadia. It was number 9, and it's right here beside me. I played that a lot. I'll talk about that more in a minute. The next up was Rurik, Stone and Blade. It was just an expansion, but I was super excited to receive it, and unfortunately, it's actually in the next room on another table getting ready to be played, but I still haven't even played that. And then number 7 was After the Empire. I'm going to talk about that here again in a minute. Chai, the High Tea expansion, and the base game of Chai, which I hadn't received prior, and I did get to play that and did enjoy it. Cartographer's Heroes, which I mentioned earlier, I did play. Destinies, which I played quite a few times and really enjoyed. Role Player Adventures, which really, it was my 3rd highest anticipated game in this list, and it did not disappoint. It was excellent. And then Sleeping Gods was number 2, also a terrific game that we got a lot of gaming time in on. And number 1 was the Isofarian Guard, which I still haven't received, hoping to get that sometime late spring, early summer. So of the top 10 games I was anticipating receiving through Kickstarter, 1 I still haven't received, 2 I haven't played, but the other ones did not disappoint. All of them were really great games. I also had a video that I had made on the most anticipated games that I knew of that were releasing in 2021, and so I'll rehash that just a little bit. One was Origins First Builders, and that is near the top of my really want to play, but haven't had a chance to. I don't own it, don't have any friends that I know of that own it, and so haven't just had an opportunity to play that one. Number 9 was Mind Management, and I do own that. The Kickstarter arrived, and I've played that a number of times. Really excellent game, tremendous production, and looking forward to playing that some more. The next up, number 8, was Lost Ones, and that's one that I saw from Before You Play. It looks really interesting, but still haven't had a chance to get my hands on that one. Next is In Too Deep, and I actually have In Too Deep right here beside me. It's, see if I can try to get some of the glare off. This is a really beautiful cover, but it glares a lot. This game is, I'm really excited to play. It's actually set up on the table right beside me, and trying to learn it right now. So that one came late in the year, and I'm excited about that one. Number 6 was Lions of Lydia, and at the time I hadn't backed In Too Deep or Mind Management. I ended up late backing those, and so that's why they weren't on that Kickstarter list of anticipated games. Lions of Lydia was another one. I didn't back that. I think it was a Kickstarter as well, but I did pick it up, and I've been playing that a lot. In fact, my wife and I just played it again last night, really enjoying that. Number 5 was Rise and Fall, which I don't think still has even been produced. It's hoping it's going to come out in 2022. Imperium Legends and Imperium Classics, a deck builder game. It's had kind of mixed reviews, and I haven't had a chance to get my hands on that one either. Dark Ages, the Holy Roman Empire and Heritage of Charlemagne, a huge, big table hog of a game. Looks grandiose and just amazing. Haven't had a chance to get my hands on that one either. It's a very expensive game as well. And then Now or Never, which is a game that still hasn't released, I don't think. I did see today online a few people in different parts of the world receiving it. I got a notice that it was shipped a couple months ago, but I think it was a mistake because I don't think anyone in the US really has received it from that pre-order. And then number 1 was Adventures of Robin Hood, and just a few minutes ago I finished filming the unboxing of that game. It just arrived yesterday here, January, let's see, today's the 9th, so it arrived on the 8th. So I unboxed it today. Possibly I'll get a chance to play that one tonight. So that was my number 1 most anticipated game of 2021, and it just arrived here in 2022. So that's a recap of what I was anticipating and where those fell. I had some other sort of peripheral goals. I was hoping to be able to play test some games possibly, or do some online playthroughs of games that were coming out, and I was able to do that. I had a chance to play Trekking the Cosmos and Trekking the Histories, or Trekking Through the Histories. Trekking Through the Histories, I think, is coming on Kickstarter soon, and I did get a chance to play test that on Tabletopia, I believe, and Trekking the Cosmos as well. That one's still in development. Not sure when the planned release of that was. It was very early in the playtesting stage when I had a chance to try that one out. Another one was Artifacts, which came to Kickstarter and then unfortunately didn't manage to fund, and so that might be coming back to Kickstarter. Another one was Bantam West, and that is on my most anticipated games coming in 2022. Really loved my playtest of that and can't wait to receive that later this year. And another one was Now or Never. I actually did get to playtest that one online with actually Bryce and Allison from Better Half Reviews. Had a great time getting to know them. I think that was our first real interaction, and loved that playtest. Can't wait to receive that game. So didn't know if I would have the opportunity to, but actually did have a chance to with a couple kind of big hitters. Now or Never was really cool, and Bantam West as well. I think that did really well on Kickstarter, and excited for that one later this year. Another kind of goal I had for the channel was to do some collaborations, and almost as soon as I put out the video saying I wanted to do some collaborations, Daniel from Punchboard Party reached out to me, and he was the first one that I did a collaboration with. And we did one on Cartographers, and we also did one on Fantasy Realms / Red Rising. And that was terrific. We did one on his channel, one on my channel, and that was a really great opportunity. Still stay in touch with Daniel. We've also met on BGA a couple times and played games that way. A terrific guy. Really have enjoyed that friendship, that relationship through long distance. He lives in Canada and I live in California, but it's been fun to get to know him through the year. Another one was with Alex Hart at Might I Suggest a Game, sorry. And he and I also did a kind of a combo. We did one on parks and then one on the best outdoor games, one on my channel, one on his channel. A terrific young guy who's got a great channel, so creative and really funny, and just love following his channel, and also have stayed in touch with him quite a bit. The next one was with Brandon and Lexi from Allaboard Gamer. We did Architects of the West Kingdom and Viscounts of the West Kingdom. Again, one on each channel. Really loved my opportunity to do that with them. Terrific couple. Really enjoyed both times. We just stayed online for quite a bit after we were done filming, just visiting and getting to know each other. They live in Pennsylvania though, so Alex lives up in the Northwest, so it's just there's no real possibility of us getting together frequently, but love being able to stay connected with them just through the internet. And the last one I was able to do one with Luke Hector at the Broken Meeple. We did one on games that have an Asian theme or an Asian setting, and did a top 10 list together. So really enjoyed those opportunities to do collaborations, and hope to do more in 2022, potentially with some of those same friends of mine. And then also I'm looking forward to love to do one with Better Half Reviews. We've talked about it, but just haven't kind of organized it yet. So looking forward to possibly pulling that one together sometime this year. And yeah, if any of you that happen to watch this video, if any of you would like to do a collaboration, reach out and I'd love to consider that. Now, a couple other things I want to mention. We can talk about the best game of the year, my most played game of the year, the biggest surprise of the year, and then just some of my best experiences, which I'll start with now as we kind of wrap up this video. My best experience of 2021 was getting to join some gaming groups, and I had never done that. I had played with my family and just really close friends, but I didn't really dive into the hobby until 2020. And so, well, 2019, 2020 was kind of when I took the deep dive into the hobby. So I'd never been a part of a true gaming group, but I found one through Meetup that meets here in the town that I live in, and I was able to attend that one quite a few times. It was tricky with the pandemic COVID situation. Sometimes it could, sometimes it couldn't. Then also met another gentleman there at that meetup who has his own play group, and he invited me to join. So had a chance to kind of be a part of two different play groups, and that was a really great experience, kind of a highlight for me, stepping out into a new avenue of this hobby that I'm enjoying. And then now to some of the games. So best surprise of the year for me was Kohaku. Now this is a game by 25th Century Games, and also what is the other? Gold Seal Games. And this one is a tile laying game. It has gorgeous translucent acrylic tiles, and it's a pattern building game where you always are drafting 2 tiles at a time. One has to be a koi fish and one has to be a koi pond feature. And so you have to draft them in pairs, they have to be adjacent. So reminds me of another game I'm going to talk about here in a second. And you're trying to put them out into your own pond that you're building in certain patterns to earn points. And really beautiful game. I hadn't even heard of this game prior to 2021, but heard a couple people talk about it in early spring. Started looking for it, found it through, I think, boardgamegeek's website and traded for it or purchased it from someone. I think that's how I picked this one up. Really love this one. This one turned out to be one of my favorites, playing solo, playing with my wife, playing with 3 and 4 players. Really terrific game. Kohaku was the biggest surprise of the year. A game I wasn't anticipating, hadn't even heard of, and turned out to be one of my favorites. My most played game of the year was Cascadia by Randy Flynn and AEG and Flat Out Games. I almost said Lookout Games. Flat Out Games. So, but Cascadia, I played this game over 50 times between the physical copy, which came through Kickstarter this year, and then the online port, but that was put on there by GitHub, I'm sure through AEG or Flat Out Games. But really love this game. It kind of like Kohaku, where you have to draft 2 tiles at a time that are connected. Here you have to draft a tile and a token that are connected, and you're building out a territory, preferably connecting the different terrain types to create large expanses of each terrain type, but also at the same time having to put those tokens, which represent animals, on specific terrains. And you're trying to score both by terrain type and the placement of the animals. Really clever game. My most played game, and one of my top games of the year as well. And then my favorite game of the year, and that is After the Empire. It's a Gray Fox game release. And the creators of this game have reached out a couple times. It's Evan Halbert and Ryan Mock, and these guys just seem to be such great everyday guys. I mean, they've connected with me a few times just through different kinds of platforms on online media, and just really great guys, it seems like. And I love this game. This is a castle or tower defense type of game. It's competitive, but there are times when you're not really going head to head in the competition. You have these invaders that are coming through your land, and you're both having to face the invaders, but from different angles as you sit on different sides of the table. So clever. It's got worker placement, it's got card drafting, it's got this clever timing and scoring charts across the bottom where you kind of want to be ahead, but you don't always want to be ahead. And oh man, so many clever twists and turns of this game. Definitely my #1 game of 2021, and it's in my top 3, I think, all-time games. After the Empire, a terrific game. So there you have it. That's my recap of 2021. Some stats from the channel over the year, some of the games that I've played, some of the experiences I've had, and then looking back on what I was anticipating about a year ago and how it actually panned out for me. So what were your highlights of 2021 in terms of gaming? Leave those comments down below. What were your favorite games? What were your best experiences? What were the surprises for you? Maybe if you have a channel, some of you that I know watch some of my videos are content creators, what was your favorite highlight as a content creator? Did you meet some goals that you had set before you? So I'd love to read about what your experiences in 2021 were like. Leave those down below for me to read, and I'll get back to you and stay in touch. If you enjoyed this video, it'd be great if you give it a thumbs up and show me that you did enjoy it. And if you wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel, that always helps, and I'd really appreciate that as well. As always, thanks for watching. This is Billy Indiana, signing off.